Gus, come. Come. This is Gus, and this is Gus Roadmap to Success. He is on some Prozac, and he has been adopted out and rehomed multiple times. He is a really high energy dog, and he's got some nuisance behaviors, we'll call them. I think that he thinks that he doesn't, well, I don't think he understands what he can do to contribute to the group. He's way under exercised. The Guardian does a good job with it, but he's one of those super high energy dogs. And so I think that lack of rules and structure and him being able to tell the Guardian what to do and then not as much exercise has gotten him confused, thinking that he's in charge of the human. But the human does not listen to him, which stresses him out the same way that parents who have a child that runs with scissors or jumps off things, it stresses them out. So that you can pet for that. There you go. And so the more this happens, the more stressed he gets. And we often think of rules and structure as being mean, but actually for dogs, it's how they learn. And if we don't have rules and structure, they get really confused about the hierarchy of what's going on, and that causes the dog to think that it's in charge of guarding. So the first thing we did was we spent a lot of time talking about exercise. We did a little bit of the doggy Stairmaster up here. So again, order some of these from Amazon as soon as I leave, and then so you'll have them tomorrow, the next couple of days. And big chunks, remember, with an empty stomach. Now, you might want to go down and get, or go to Carpet Land and get a piece of carpet, and go ahead and reward that, that fits exactly the bottom. Make sure it's white or light gray or light cream. White is not ideal for floor mat, but if you get like a big section, you can cut several of them together and it gets dirty, throw it away, get another one. So when you throw the treats down, he sees it right away. So every time he licks it up, we say Jamaica. When he comes to the top, I would probably just throw it back down. If he stops coming back up, then you give him one and say Canada, maybe to go to the top. But he was pretty good about going back down there. And that way he also won't slide when he gets down there. So that 5 minutes of there is equivalent to like about a 15, 20-minute walk, but we can do that multiple times a day. Now remember, we can set him up for success by exercising him. The black Pittie that comes by that he likes to bark at, well, if we exercise him first, that's a great way to have less oomph out of him when it comes to that. So basically, the doggy Stairmaster, number one. Scent games, the Guardian's already using some treat dispensing toys, which are great. I would recommend getting a snuffle mat. Get it on Amazon or Chewy. Get an Omega Paw treat ball. Get the large one. It's only a little bit better than softball. So the Omega Paw would probably maybe a distractor and give him a little bit of exercise in between meals. I would also feed him a little bit more often. So right now he's fed twice a day. The Guardian comes home from work to be with him, so he's not alone. But for dogs, using the nose burns more energy than walking. And walks are great. So if you do let him walk, let him sniff as much as he can, as long as it's safe to do so. But if we feed him out of a snuffle mat, 3 breakfast, lunch, and dinner, that's 3 walks essentially that we get from cheating by just feeding him. So, and then we can use the Omega Paw treat ball maybe between lunch and dinner. So that's like 4 walks through just feeding him. That gives him something to do, and that also makes him really a chewaholic and really interested in chewing things. Also, something else, if you get Kongs, you can get like a piece of this beef liver, put it at the bottom of the Kong, and then fill it up with the peanut butter or the pumpkin. So now I got to work through it, and there's like a treat at the bottom. Come. We also talked about, let me see, I guess those are some forms of exercise. Scent games is the last one we talked about. But remember, he needs exercise throughout the day, so I would recommend you do the exercise journal. Keep it for about 2 weeks. Write at the day at the top of the page, the time, and how many up downs on the stairs. So maybe you get up in the morning, let him do his business before you feed him. You do the treat toss up and down the stairs. And remember, the first time you do it with an empty stomach until he goes, "You're crazy. I've been down there 103 times. I'm not going down there anymore." Now we know the maximum number. We want to exercise him 50 to 75% of the maximum number multiple times a day. So we throw the treats up and down the stairs. Once he's pooped, we go take a shower, and then he's recovering. He's 10 minutes after exercise to catch his breath. Then after that, you feed him out of the snuffle mat. So he gets essentially 2 exercise zones before you go to work. Then you come home from work or for lunchtime, give him the snuffle mat, or maybe do that again. Give him 10 minutes to recover, go outside and do his business. And then, yes, I know I can't reward that though. And then the treat toss on the stairs or fetch or walk or whatever it is. Then you put that after he recovers 10 minutes. Feed him out of the snuffle mat. You eat lunch while he's doing that. It's best if you eat something first. That's one thing I forgot to go over. Whenever you're eating, make sure you eat something first. All it has to be is 5 bites of something. If you're eating a regular sandwich, that's better. But for lunch, it's probably more convenient in terms of the logistics for you to come home and exercise him right away. Then while he's panting, 5 bites of a chip, carrot, celery, something like that. Then once he's recovered, fill up his snuffle mat. put it back, and work it in there. So he's got to really work to it. And then you sit down and eat your sandwich while he's eating on a snuffle mat. You already ate something in front of him, the 5 bites of the celery or whatever. So that's another, essentially 2 exercises he gets. Then you go back to work, he sleeps. And then when you come back home, you do maybe this again, and you're writing all the stuff in the exercise journal. Then maybe an hour after this, maybe we do the Omega Paw treat ball with some of his kibble. And so we're feeding him 3 or 4 times a day, but he's got to use his nose to find, which is draining, stimulating, and boosts his confidence and gives him things to do. And the wild dogs spend 90% of their time looking for food. We just have it available in a bowl. It's like, what do I do with the other 89% of my time? That's where chewing, nuisance barking, digging, destruction, a lot of these unwanted behaviors come from. So coming up with things for the dog to do and exercising, life-changing. Okay, so the exercise journal, keep that for a couple weeks. Write down the time and how many up, downs, the stairs, how many set games, how many snuffle mat, what time you feed him. Then at the end of the day, give him a letter grade A through F. If you got anything other than an A, the next day, maybe he gets a couple extra fetches. He gets a couple extra this, that, or the other thing. And so so we keep on adjusting his exercise regimen until eventually he's giving us like A+ behavior, and his anxiety is less. Because of a lot of the other things we went over. But the exercise in his case is going to be supremely important. So keep that exercise journal until you figure out what the right cocktail is. That way you can work it into your schedule, and we're setting him up for success. And again, before you have guests come over, exercise him. And if, maybe get some rollerblades. If you do want to do that, there's a special harness you want to get. Message me and I can share the name of it. Otherwise, a regular harness can kind of be taxing on his joints. But he's a little muscle, and he can run as much as he wants, and it's fun. I call it dog skiing. Everywhere I go, people are waving like I'm in a parade. And I go by FDR building, and people like come out, they're like, we see you every day. You're so sit. Okay, so also his nails are a little bit long. If they get too long, they can actually break along and split along the axis, and you have to have surgery and have them amputated, and they do not grow back. So I would definitely look into that. I have videos on my website that show you how to use a Dremel. And
I have one. I just don't know.
If you go to Doggone Problems, click on where it says Dog Training Tips. There's a search box on the right side of the page or the bottom of the page. Search just for Dremel. And there's a video that I went through a client where I go through all the steps. If you do it right, he likes it.
Oh, God, yeah, because he does not like having his nails trimmed.
It's normal, and that's why when you have a puppy, you want to handle their paws a lot. But that exercise, if you go slow, they're fine with it. Okay, so we also talked about rules, because in his case, the lack of rules, I think, has confused him into thinking that he has the same authority as his human. Now he's nudging for attention, also thinks he can tell me what to do, but I don't respond to that. I don't correct him, I don't use punishment, but he just doesn't get anything from that. So the first rule we talked about, since he likes to destroy couches and he also is humping people and challenging them, is to say no furniture for at least 90 days, bare minimum. Everybody's like, you said 90 days. I said bare minimum. Or as long as the problem's still going on. Get the X match. You'll probably have to order probably about 6 of them because you have a really deep couch. And I would put all the pillows up at the top because otherwise he's going to use the pillows. He's athletic. He'll jump across and lay on the pillows. So now, every time you want to get up and go to the bathroom, you just grab one from underneath the nail, unfold it, put it where your butt is, go get your glass of water, go to the bathroom, come back, fold it, put it back down there. That way he's like, oh God, white things. And after, it's not a racial thing, but in that way it helps him practice not getting up on the furniture. Now, we also went over how to use that dog bed. So throw 10 treats on the dog bed, and it has to have at least one paw on there. And we say bougie or whatever the word is if you want to change it to something else. That's the first way. We throw the treats, and then after the 10 treats, we wait for him to not look, and we place one there. And place it in an obvious position so we can see it, and use a big piece of crack if you're doing it. Treat, and don't point it out. So he goes over and finds it, we say the word bougie again. The third way to do it is I can lead him over and put him into a sit or an LAY, put the treat in his mouth while he's on the dog bed, and say bougie. These are the 3 ways to entice or motivate him to go there. Then what I would do is have a piece of treat like this, and as soon as he goes over there on his own, when he goes there, then I throw the treat. He's like, man, I come over here, it rains treats. Why wouldn't I stay up here? I go on the couch and it doesn't feel comfortable, but I go up here and I get all these treats. Now you can direct him to go there. Okay, another rule, so another rule would be not being allowed to be on this blue carpet when the guardians are eating or there's any food present here. The only exception I would have is he can maybe come across here, to go to Boji one time. But if he comes back a second time, it's like, oh, just go, no, then you're done. It's only like 10 minutes that we're eating. It's not a long time, but he needs practice at self-restraint. The more you create these borders and boundaries, he practices self-restraint. He also practices seeing you enforce them, or the other person in the house. So basically, yes, that's not gonna work. But again, sit. Oh. Now remember, he's pawing at you like, oh, down. If he's pawing at you, don't wait for his paw to come up here before you operate conditioning. So as soon as his paw raises this high off the ground, pull your arm back and stop petting him. And you might have to do it 5 or 10 times. Eventually it realizes my paw comes up and the petting stops. I'll keep 4 on the floor. Okay, so so the other rules where there's no food, there's food, he's not allowed to be on the blue while the food is present. The rest of the time he can come and go as he pleases. Next rule is kitchen. And I use that and practice that enforcement that I showed you. Invite your friend over and show her how to do it as well. And that way you guys can both practice this. And that's definitely not going to work. But that way, if it's you or your girlfriend, then it doesn't matter. If they're cooking, I'm not allowed to go to the kitchen. And any of your friends that come over, we want to do it with, so that way he understands and he practices respecting that. Put down a piece of painter's tape so we know exactly where that is. After a week or 2, you can take that out. You don't have to drop the treats over you. That's why we do the bacon thing that I talked to you about. But so you do your meal prep with the bacon on the counter. He's like, still sure looks like she's cooking. She smells like she's in the place she cooks. But every time I cross the threshold, she's on me like white on rice. So watch him out of the corner of your eye. Now, the last one we went over, and there's some others that we can go, but is he has to sit before you let him out the door. Go to the door, say sit once, and if he tries to hump, just hook his collar like this, and just hold it off to the side. And again, this is an indication that he needs some exercise. Not he's being naughty, he needs some exercise. Once he calms down, then we let go. So basically the next one is I go to the door, I tell him to sit one time. If he doesn't sit within 3 seconds, the first time I say it, I walk away, ask your personal assistant to give you a 60-second timer, and make sure you're seated. After 6 seconds, go back and tell him again. If he doesn't sit within 3 seconds this time, I walk away and sit down for 2 minutes, then 4 minutes, then 8 minutes. But boy, as soon as he sits down, when I tell him, the door flies open. So this will train him to go sit at the door as his way instead of scratching at it. Remember to go to Office Max or Kinko's and get that white paper. I would put it on the inside of the window jamb so he can't scratch it off. And just go over there and put him on the bogie and have him hold a treat up and see how high he can actually be so you can eclipse that width. He can't get into it, so I'm not worried about it. He's going to try. His job, remember, is to push your boundaries. Your job is to say, nope, can't do that. You're going to bite at it. I prefer you don't bite at it. Okay, so put that up there, and then after like 2 months, he's being calm, then start taking an X-Acto knife and cutting an inch off and gradually gets down less and less and less. Leave it. Leave it. That's more of a drop. There we go. Yes, you are being pushy. It's like, well, we're on video. I can take advantage of you. So I'm going to put these in my hand so I can distract you. And having stuff to distract him, like I said, go to the green spot, use that card. And again, kneecaps, one of the best things in terms of edible. Now, they don't last very long, so the bully sticks are going to be the better to keep for a long time. But if you do take something from him, remember you have to trade if you do take the thing away. We want to drop it and a leave it command. So make sure you practice those. Message me if you can't remember either one of those. I'm happy to share videos. Let me see. But also get him like the no hides. My dog loves the no hides. Cow cheeks, they look like raw hides, but they're not bad. Cow ears, cod skins and this stuff that he'll go through pretty quickly. But kneecaps are great because it's about 3 or 4 chews. And I would also highly recommend getting him a water buffalo horn. It will probably outlast Gus.
Wow.
They're very durable. Also, Kong's black is stronger than red. And having a couple in the freezer, so you always have one ready to go, is always a handy thing to do. So remember, well, I didn't go over this, but dogs should have at least 20 different toys at all times.
Oh, gosh.
So most people have like, I have so many. How many? 11? You're not even halfway there. So otherwise, I'm going to chew on something. Either I chew on my stuff or I can chew on your stuff, and I promise you, he will always have more expensive tastes. The more great things you give him to chew, and that motivate him, that's like that Mega Paw treat ball, those treat dispensing puzzles help him practice chewing the right things rather than your couch. Remember, good attention, bad attention, same thing. I'm not going to go over petting with a purpose passive training because that's the video above, but those are super duper important for you. Down, down. Now he wants the treats, so he was going for bad behavior. He's going to try to hump me, so that's why I did the hook. Up. Now don't just push him down. I would rather hook him. Up. So again, if he does this sort of thing, interpret this as he needs exercise, not that he's being naughty. This works for him. He just chews on it and he gets stuff. So we need to teach him that no, petting, sitting, all the things we talked about in the video above will really help. Last thing we went over was the escalating consequences. I showed you how to use the kitchen or create establishing invisible boundaries in the kitchen. Also remember that out command. So grab a couple pieces. So if I want him to leave here, out, I put it in context. But now don't just throw it this way. Dogs don't generalize well. So now I'm going to throw it that way. He vacates out. So I'm saying leaving this area is rewardable, and here's the command word for it. So do it all different directions for here. Do it in your kitchen. Do it every doorway in your house, and then repeat it. And then you could say, like, if he's out, go like this. Living room. I prefer one-word commands or fun commands if you can. So media or movies or whatever it is. But the more that we come up with these fun command words, remember, dogs read human facial expressions. So sit. This is operant conditioning. And again, if he gets really riley like this, so again, I'm just stiff-arming him. Excited is not happy. He makes most mistakes when he's overstimulated. So that's why, again, in your case, the exercise is going to be super duper important. Sit. Sit. All right, let's show everybody what a handsome fella you are. Come here. Sit. Well, this is Gus, and this is Gus's roadmap to success. Remember, everything you do trains your dog. Only sometimes you mean it.